among other things, that they never went to college. Now, you would have no idea why the authors are mentioning college if you don't know that this is a student song. So we added a little phrase, something like that they never sang student songs like this. But that's the most we allowed ourselves to add.
Probably no more than 5 times, I would imagine.
Yeah, very rarely. We try to avoid it if at all possible.
We really wanted to avoid having, heavy numbers of footnotes. We do have 5 or 6 of those, and then we maybe did another 5 or 6 times where we facilitated the cultures. Yeah.
Yes?
I have a question about Zoshchenko, another humorist, you would say, of the time. How would you rank him in terms of difficulty of translation? And is he someone whom you might think of translating, since you have already displayed amazing mastery of working with Ilf and Petrov?
Can't say that we thought about that.
Oh, yes, we have. Well, as it happens, when I was in Moscow in February, I was talking to no less the chief editor of foreign literature, in Estonia. And he mentioned Russian, because, all of my friends are now wondering what we're going to do next. And he wasn't the only one to mention Zoshchenko. But as you know, Zoshchenko writes in a very particular style, sort of, simplified, sort of the speech of an uneducated person. So we were wondering together, how would we translate that? And I said, I don't know, Cockney? I can't write in Cockney. He said, absolutely not. You can't do that. Cockney has nothing to do with it. And he has a point. He has a point. I don't think we'll be doing Zoshchenko. He's hard to read, even for the Russians. And also, he wrote largely short stories. So there will be a collection of short stories now. Needless to say, they were translated, half a dozen times by now. But here you have, among other things, the plot. If you don't particularly appreciate the humor, well, there's an interesting story there. I don't know how well Zoshchenko reads in English if you're not into Russian studies. I just don't know.
It certainly needs a new translation, is what I'm saying.
Well, maybe we should talk about it.
Oh, we've thought about it, but we haven't discussed it.
Maybe we'll take one more question then. In the back there, yes?
I'm always curious about the experience of Russian writers during the Stalin era. And I assume from what you've said that this book was not terribly offensive to the government at the time.
Well, it had its share of troubles. Like I mentioned before, there were problems with publishing the book edition. Both authors luckily escaped any repression or anything because they died early. Ilf died in '37 of tuberculosis, and Petrov died during World War II as a war correspondent 5 years later. Neither of them lived to be 40. In '48, when they were both dead, the book was, two books, both the 12 Chairs and the Golden Cat were reissued. And the publisher got in big trouble with authorities, and they were effectively banned from '48 to '56. But amazingly, I'm sure there was self-censorship on their part, no question about it. But amazingly, they managed to escape repression, and probably because they worked on the cusp of both history and of the developments in Soviet literature. It's hard to tell how it happened. Maybe they were lucky, but they were unaffected. Although they knew about it, and in Ilf's they were certainly aware of what was going on in the country. And in Ilf's diaries that are literary work in its own right, and usually they're published separately, there is a phrase, a brick is flying towards me. So he probably felt that, you know, a few more months or a couple of years, they will be hit too. He just died early.
Well, thank you all for coming, and I want to thank Helen and Konstantin for their beautiful work and for participating in this panel. And if you want to buy a copy of the book, there's one in the back, and we also have a little reception with some refreshments if you want to ask them a few questions. So, thanks a lot.